Hello, this is Nick995. For this video, now I'm gonna be talking about I'm gonna talk about cinematics in video games. So cinematics, there are really all sorts of different cinematics in games, right? So cinematics they're mainly in story-oriented games, right? But I want to really talk about the games with the best cinematics, really the best cinematics. And so cinematics that can be a mixture of like great graphics and great visuals, voice acting, and the theme of the story and all that. But yeah, if you're watching this, like, subscribe, share the video. Please share the video all over. Check out my newest video, please. My newest videos, the Crash Bandicoot walkthrough. Please check on those. Let me know. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of the content, please. Because like I'm trying to get away from showing games here, and like I want to show you guys actual gameplay. So let me know. Anyways, cinematics now again. You know, in my opinion, the cinematic games like this, right, where it's about Kratos' struggle. So Kratos being a demigod, right, and the Greek, and you got the Greek Empire, Greek mythology and all that. So Kratos now he really takes advantage of that. They really take advantage of his struggle in this one, right? It's kind of an end of an era, right? Kind of for Kratos. He's moving on from the Greek era, and then he's trying to get our revenge against the gods, right? But the cinematics is so good in that I really feel the struggle and the suspense to the story. There's so much suspense behind it, and there's a lot of things like spiritual and spiritual and kind of past warfare. Like this is a character that's been through so much trauma, and then I really feel it through the cutscenes. Really feel that, so trauma and all that, and revenge. He's just this walking rage monster. He's walking rage, follows him or whatever. But very cool, especially the cinematics in that. It's so this one can be very large scale. It's a very large scale game, right? In that, you're basically seeing the Greek gods fight these giant monsters. Basically, it starts out like that, like these giant, massive monsters. It's so cool, these giant scale, and a lot of our brutality to it as well as cinematics. Now, again, another one, for example, is gonna be Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is not really cinematic, but it's more about the dialogue options, and like when you're in a dialogue option already, when you're talking to a character, right? To a NPC or whatever, it feels so. The voice acting feels so, impactful. It feels so impactful. It reminds you a lot of watching a Game of Thrones episode. But yeah, it's very real, and just a dialogue. They really spend time like with the different dialogue options. So the different dialogue options where there's how do you call it again? There's dialogue options where you act arrogant. There's some options where you act kind of curious. There's some ones where you act logical. There's other ones where you kind of act like you don't know what they're talking about. So just they really spend a lot of time and using the voice actor through the different voice or dialogue options. It's pretty cool, and it's such a nice scenes, and every character you meet feels so real. They feel so real. It has that similar effect to like a Red Dead 2, where every character you meet it feels super real, But again, in cinematics too, you're fighting giant monsters and all that, and there's you're fighting like there's also sorts of creatures that you find in the world, and that's pretty cool. Like it's really cool. Now, in my opinion, let's look. Red Dead 2. I'm gonna talk briefly about Red Dead 2 and GTA 5. Really, I want to talk briefly because I talked a ton about these games. But cinematics too, it's like, especially in this one, the theme behind it is that redemption. Right, you're trying to redeem your character from, like some sort of troubled past or whatever. And with GTA 5, you're bringing 3 characters out together, right? two of them, they knew each other from before. So the cinematics is that it's really, what's really special about it is that for GTA 5 is that you get to play as the three different characters, and like whenever they're talking to each other, like in a certain conversation, that's pretty cool, you know. You get to hear this character's side of what they think about this, or what they think about this heist, or how does it make sense, or whatever. Obviously, Trevor being the crazy one, he's a crazy one. The cinematics really take advantage of his craziness, you know, and he's really loud, he's bold, and all that, and they all have different personality traits, you know. But the voice acting, again, like Rockstar does perfectly. They just capture the voice acting like perfectly, you know. You know, there's one game like I would say that does this better. There's only one game like I would say that does the voice acting element better. But like you know, like you're watching a movie basically. Like you're watching a movie, you're sitting down watching a movie, and you just can't wait to. You don't want the cutscenes to end. The cinematic is it's such well done, you know. You feel a realistic, especially it's kind of a GTA 5 is kind of like a representation of our world, you know. Looks at real world things like government, you know, like the government taking over, and then I really feel the theme in the cinematics, and every character has their own struggles or whatever. Like Michael is trying to get his son to get out of the house, I get a job or whatever. I work like a normal person, and you really feel that and then intergenerational conflict through the cutscenes, you know. And you know, like when you meet the secret agents or whatever, you really feel that a sense of corruption through the a corruption and suspense through the cutscenes. I read it too again, briefly again. You know, great. Some of the cinematics are especially in that. Well, it's not really cinematics. It's like a mid. So every time that you go into a new chapter, the screen goes black and white, and it says chapter 4, or chapter 5. It's pretty cool. Little details like that, and cinematics can be sometimes they can be limiting in that you obviously can't. There's semi-cinematics where you can't run. It forces you to walk, right? I talked about this before, where it'll force you to walk to listen to a certain character speak, right? And then so you're walking along with this character, with the other character or whatever. So it can be Arthur and Dutch, or Arthur and Hosea, or whatever, or Arthur and John, or John and John's wife or whatever. So you're walking like with that character, and then you gotta forced to listen to what they say, you know. And yeah, but just the graphics, it's so, you know, it's so well done, you know. It's just this, and the accents again, the voice acting too. Again, the Rockstar, they master the voice acting. They get this Western type of vibe to it, and I thought it would be like a cheesy Western movie, like some of those old cheesy Western movies. But man, like this, it's just so well done. You know, you feel the. Are you basically running like from the, you know, are you basically running from the law, right? Like in this game, like these two games really, but this one, like you're basically on the ropes, right? Then you really feel that through the cinematics, like when the characters talk and how they're gonna what's your plan? Does your plan make sense? And the leader of the group, Dutch, kind of makes these you know, a questionable move sometimes, and you even hear some of the characters in the camp or whatever, second guess Dutch, and there's 22, so there's like 22 different camp characters, right? And then you know, I get to there's cinematics with all of them. You know, they all share, they all have a you know, a certain story. They all have a certain relationship with the group and all that. So it's very, you know, it's really interesting. It's very, very, very interesting, you know, to see the cinematics. And just that Western vibe. You don't see, like, when do you ever see Western games? Like, almost never. Like, I would say almost never. Like, you don't see Western games much. It's not really a focus. It's not really a heavily focused genre like in gaming. You see medieval games more, or ancient, or samurai, but again, so, yeah. Now, this one, in my opinion, has the best. Not, you know, if I was to rank them, I would say this one has the best cinematics. Really, it's a 2 game in one. But because Ground Zero came before this, but it's like a demo to this. But Ground Zero really how was it again? Ground Zero, yeah. So Ground Zero had the same graphics as this basically. So what's really nice about the cinematics in this is that it captures it's slow pace. So actually, similar to Red Dead 2, right? Red Dead 2 starts with slow pace. The cinematics in this is very. You start out spoilers. Please skip ahead if you're. But you start out in like this hospital bed or whatever, and then you're in like a coma, right? One day I'm gonna do a playthrough of this, and I'm gonna talk about it while I react to it or whatever. And it's pretty cool or whatever. So you've been knocked out for you've been in a coma for 9 years, and imagine that. Imagine if you you're basically asleep for a decade basically. But a coma is different from a sleep. But anyway, and then you wake up, and then the doctor, your vision is all blurry, and you hear the music. Just the music captures the scene so well or whatever, And yeah, but I would say that this game, Metal Gear Solid 5, has the best voice acting. And again, it's based on what I played. Skullface, if you guys know Skullface was not utilized properly, the villain. But whosoever voiced him, they did a great. Oh my god, it's one of the best voice acting in a game, though. It's so good. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like Hideo Kojima, he really knows how to. He really knows how, or whosoever like was writing the lines or whatever. And there's a lot of things like philosophical things in this game, like the meaning of life and private military and different governments fighting each other and all that, and nuclear weapons, and yeah. So through the cinematics, you really feel that through the characters. Obviously you got Snake. For those of you who know Metal Gear, right? Snake, Miller. This one brings in Ocelot, and Ocelot voiced by Troy Baker. Like, they all do a great job. Like, there's no weak link. Even Quiet, I believe. Quiet, which is spoilers, please skip ahead. But Quiet, I believe, earlier on, I didn't know that she would talk, right? But eventually, like, as she talked, and even her voice, as she, like, it really felt impactful. That sense of purpose in it. Like, every character, every time there's like some sort of chat or dialogue, it feels so purposeful, yeah. It's kind of hard to explain, but there's these tapes that you get, right? So the tapes, they're kind of like backward, they're kind of lower to the world. They kind of give you more information on like a mission or intel. They give you extra intel, and you get to meet these different characters throughout the world, throughout missions or whatever. And then you'll hear Ocelot, Troy Baker, if you guys know. Like, look him up. A video game voice actor, Troy Baker. He's so good. And then like you get to hear him describe this or that, or describe what goes on. Obviously, it's a military game based on the military or whatever. Talk about like whatever, what these soldiers are going through, and the base or whatever, or intel like for a mission about stealing this cargo, or taking out this military base and all that. So, but it's really, the attention to detail, like in the cutscenes too. Like, there's even one where it specifically talks about there's this virus in the game, right? And then there's a genius or whatever. This old man, he's like 100 years old, but he's like a genius, right? He kind of biologically engineer viruses or whatever. So like he talks about the virus, and he breaks down biologically the virus. He talks about it in such a way, it's so intelligent, It's like, it's so, I look up Code Talker. All this is hard to explain, but if I was to do a walkthrough of it, like I would let you guys know, but man, it's just so well done, and then I even learn a part of it too, the great cinematics. Even you're learning about things like, you're learning new things about science and all that. Science is all around us, right? Science is like all around us, and like this game like breaks it down in such a way. Like there's a great scene where what's it, like this one sniper, right? This skilled sniper. I don't want to say the name, but the skilled sniper. They're able to shoot down this a jet pilot, right? So the jet pilot is flying towards him, but they shot the jet pilot like with the sniper. And then you hear Ocelot talk about it, like on the tape. It's like moving that fast, a jet moving that fast would be impossible for that person to hit, to that person to line up the sniper, like at that speed or whatever. So and then and so like it's pretty awesome to hear him talk about velocity and metrics and speed and all that. So yeah, you're learning things as you go along, and yeah, and again, it captures things like PTSD, and there's things like if you're not on your main base, the soldiers will get kind of demoralized. They lose their what do you call it again? I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a moral meter or whatever. But like when you're on your base, everybody's happier because you're like the boss of the base, the mother base. It's like giant oil rig that you can build, and it's pretty cool. And this Miller, especially in this game, Miller. Now, if you guys know Miller, right? If you guys don't, like, just look him up, right? So Miller in this game, right? He's different, right? And he doesn't trust anybody, but right, really hearing the hatred through his voice or whatever, the hatred for the main villain and how he's gonna get that revenge. It's so cool. It's pretty cool, you know. But the voice acting, it has probably this is the only game I would say that has better voice acting than Witcher 3 or GTA 5 or a Red Dead game, you know. But anyways, that's just part 1. I'm gonna do a part 2, and for one more in this, I could talk about God of War 4 really. Again, they changed up the how was it again? They changed up the setting, right? So you're no longer in Greek, you're in Scandinavian territories of Viking or whatever, or Norse mythology, and it's so cool in that you feel the chemistry between the father and son, and the father's trying to teach the son different, like a different outlook on life or whatever. Like he doesn't trust anybody, and he's teaching his son to be this warrior and all that. So like I really feel that sense of purpose like through the cinematics and whatever. And then it's so well done. The music really complements it well. The music does complement, and the voice acting, like it all goes so well together. It just all goes so well together, and yeah, it's just, man. What was really cool is that again, like, you guys going on this journey, and there's things like what is it again? What was I gonna say again? Basically, there's things in this where every time you go to like a new area or whatever, they'll like the Chelsea will say dialogue or whatever, and then like so there's some like of the areas or whatever. You guys are kind of like a fish like out of water. Like you guys are going to uncharted territory or whatever, to deserted areas, and it's so cool. Like just to hear the dialogue or whatever, the voices describing this or what's going on or whatever. And Kratos, obviously some of it though is Kratos being Greek, right? It's got ancient Greek. He doesn't understand the Scandinavian what do you call it again? The Viking language or whatever. So, but his son, basically, because his mother is of kind of like, well, if you guys don't know what they're giants and giantess or whatever, so they're like different variant of gods or whatever. So basically the son basically is able to, he's super intelligent, so he can basically translate anything as long as he has he's able to quickly translate things, quickly, like very, very quickly. Like he learns languages very quickly. So he reads this, but you as the main character Kratos, you don't really understand it, right? So you are relying on him to translate things or whatever. So it's like a superpower. That's like one of his superpowers. But like, yeah, the cinematics and it really the slow pace scenes, right? The slow pace scenes. It takes a time to tell a story. It really takes a time, and the suspense and all that. And you guys feel that you feel that sense of isolation. You're isolated in this world or whatever. But you being Kratos, right? Kratos being kind of like the God of War. Now, if you guys know the God of War, that's the Ares, right? So he takes that mantle. He took that mantle from Ares, basically. So he's basically like kind of like Ares, But he's like a demigod. But he's really powerful. He's way stronger than the average man. He's way more durable and all that. But I really feel in this game, since he's older, you kind of feel that sense of vulnerability because he's not as agile as he was before and all. He doesn't have as many weapons and powers. So yeah, it really captures that through the cinematics, and he's really trying to hold back. He's really trying to hold back because Kratos, if he didn't hold back, he would be unstoppable. Nothing in this game could stop him, but yeah, it's just part of the character. But anyways, that's it for the cinematics. It's part 1. I want to do part 2. Talk about games like Infamous 2 or Spider-Man PS4 or Horizon Zero Dawn and like what makes the cinematics of those games so special. Thanks for watching.